Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 205, The True Presence in the Holy Eucharist. Gospel, John chapter 6, essentially Jesus is talking to the Jews saying, listen, this is the true body and blood of the Lord Jesus Christ, of me. This is my true body and blood. They're like, we can't really swallow that pill. It's probably a symbol. They're essentially saying they can't really believe that it's true body and true blood. And essentially, John chapter 6, verse 66, the only 666 verse in the Bible, once they denied the Holy Eucharist, denied the true presence within the Holy Eucharist, the body and the blood, the line 666 is, and they turned their back on him and walked with him no more. Meaning, if you don't believe in the true presence in the Holy Eucharist, you don't walk with Jesus Christ. And so, today's the Feast of Corpus Christi. It's a high holy day. Was instituted in the Counter-Reformation within the 1500s. We had a wonderful service today, a procession, and the priest just hammered home about the true presence of the Lord in the Holy Eucharist. And this is what makes us Catholic. This is one of the complete doctrinal positions of the Church that we have to believe to be Roman Catholic, and we cannot be. Then we're in a state of sin, essentially. And so, anyway, I was actually thinking about this. When in my life did I finally believe in the true presence of the Lord in the Holy Eucharist? You would think it would be sometime along, early communion class or a CCD, confirmation, getting married, you name it. And I don't think it was. And so I was one of these Catholics that were nominal at best, in my early married life. And then somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you got to come to this parish," because I was a fairly traditional guy. I had good inclinations, right inclinations toward family, but I didn't understand the Mass. And they said, "Well, come to our parish. We got some good people there. You can actually see what it's like." And it turned out it was a Tridentine Mass, the Latin Mass, and I went in and I had no clue what was going on, like no clue at all. But everybody appeared to be as serious as a heart attack. They were really, they were doing something, and you knew they were involved in something. I just didn't know what it was. And so that right then was when I'm like, there's something going on here I don't understand. And I've never been privy to it in my entire childhood, growing up and learning catechesis. And so I started reading. I started reading the Missal, devouring it, trying to figure it out. Then reading other sources as well. These are the days before the internet was readily available. And it turned out the reason why they were so serious is because they believed in the true presence of the Holy Eucharist, which I came to figure out that these people were not going to Mass and celebrating. These people were going to Mass and worshiping. And I learned the true presence not through being told it, because I had probably, 20, 30 priests and catechesis teachers and instruction telling me that before that point in time in my life when I was 25 years old. What convinced me of the true presence of the Lord in the Holy Eucharist were the parishioners I was attending the Tridentine Mass with. It wasn't the liturgy itself, I would guess. I think, the liturgy probably had something to do with it, but it was the way the people around me worshiped. And so, this has got me thinking, words of encouragement to fellow parishioners. If you want others to believe in the true presence of the Holy Eucharist, then you should start acting like you believe in the true presence of the Holy Eucharist. Reverence in Mass, there were signs in that parish. Please observe silence in front of the Holy Eucharist, for reverence of the Lord. No chitty-chatty, no high-fiving, no hugging and kissing in the aisles. Because you're there to worship the Lord Jesus Christ. You're not there to make friends and high five. That's what donut hour is for. And so that's why almost every Catholic parish Mass breaks out. Everybody goes out and then they go and they enjoy coffee and donuts together and they get to know each other. That's the gospel in action. And so if you want to convince your fellow parishioners of the true presence of the Lord Jesus Christ, my advice to you is to act like you actually believe it yourself. And I don't know what that means to you, and I don't know, to me, what really got me was when, the thumping of the chest during the consecration, staring at the host during the elevation, taking it on the tongue, receiving the Lord on the tongue, not grabbing it in the hand, kneeling when you received. Like, really, it was pretty reverent, and that got me thinking. And I'm not criticizing anybody who doesn't do it that way, but and I'm telling you just honestly, as a man here, that's how I figured it out. It wasn't all the catechesis in the world. Maybe I was just dumb. Maybe I was adult. I don't know. It was my fellow parishioner and how they received the Lord, and how they the church, how they treated it. The quiet reverence and the prayer after Mass, and so on and so forth. So this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe. The Lord is present in the Holy Eucharist, both body and blood. That is a position that Catholics cannot ever compromise on. You're not allowed, and if you do, you got to leave the church. And so it's something to think about. If you're in if you're in Mass and the Lord Jesus Christ walks in front of you, what would you do? Would you sit there and hold hands and sing Kumbaya? No, you would probably fall to your knees, is what you would do. You might actually fall to your belly and ask for forgiveness and not even get out of the prostrate position. I don't know, but you certainly would be more reverent than, I would be more reverent than I am now in Mass. But if the Lord was truly present in the Eucharist, which He is, how should we treat the church? How should we treat the Eucharist? What kind of reverence should we display in church? And that's something that I think bears some meditating upon. This is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe. And by the way, just to let you know, I'm a Novus Ordo Catholic. I go there because that's what is present to me at this point in time. But if you ever want to get to the Tridentine Mass, boy, it's really interesting. It will confuse you, but if you do some reading about it, it might inspire you. So this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe, get the Mass, and pray the Daily Rosary.